what you do. So, Texas was in Lubbock last night. Tech played really well. Harmon played really well. The former Oklahoma Sooner had a big game, beat Texas. It wasn't easy, but beat Texas last night. Huge win for them as Tech's they got some good quad one wins, but they obviously have to dig themselves out of a terrific hole after starting at, 0-10 or whatever it was.
I think they've got to pretty much, they can't, it's unreasonable to think that they're going to win out, but they got to get close.
Well, they're going to have to do some damage the rest of the way. 5 games left, and of course, maybe in the Big 12 tournament, and even then it may not be enough. So Baylor started, remember, with 0-3, 2 very gut-wrenching last possession losses to TCU and then also to Kansas State. They were 0-3. They're now 9-4. They've won 9 of their last 10 conference games. Add the win against Arkansas in that mix as well. But here comes a stretch at Kansas State, Texas at home, at Oklahoma State, and then home against Iowa State. All of those teams are competing along with Baylor to try to win the Big 12 regular season championship.
Yeah, it is surprising that they did start 0-3, and then they've been on this tear, and they've gotten back into now what is a tie for first place. That's hard to do. But if you look at the way that this league has gone, really everybody's going to have a little funk. Theirs was just right at the beginning, which is really if you're going to pick a time in the Big 12 to have your funk, I would pick right out of the gate, wouldn't you? As opposed to in the middle or at the end.
The amount of energy it takes to get back to where you are in position like they are now is still 5 games left, to me is remarkable. But the energy can sometimes wear you down. We've seen them do that before when they were not a tournament, like an Elite 8 team, but we've seen them make the run before. But, yeah, if you're going to lose early so you don't have that, kind of that, what's going on? Iowa State's dealt with it. Kansas State's dealt with it. Texas has lost 2 out of 3. They, of course, lost to Kansas and then also last night in Lubbock. Everybody goes through it in this conference, but I would think if you're going to start 0-3, you surely have zero room for error. And Baylor with 5 extremely difficult games, but which ones aren't?
But you can, on any given night, get quality minutes out of 9 players. And when Jonathan Chachua is coming off the bench and playing 24 minutes, that's excellent. And then you've got, Caleb Lohner can get good minutes for you. Josh Ojimuna can get good minutes for you. Dale Bonner
he's hardly ever playing now.
Yeah, but he can still, he can get good minutes if you need them.
Yeah.
And then you can, and of course Langston Love can get good minutes for you as well.
Yeah, a great win last night. It doesn't really matter what Texas Tech does if Baylor doesn't handle their business against West Virginia. Mm-hmm. So, they had to get that win to be in first place, regardless of what everybody else did, and they got it, and it's awfully impressive. They're sizzling right now. LJ Cryer is on a tear. He and Adam Flagler both have been pretty incredible the last week in particular. Just kind of zeroing in on the tail end of this stretch. They've both taken turns and being super hot, and obviously that remained the case last night with Cryer doing what he did. But just top to bottom, it's a really deep roster that's obviously a lot deeper now with Everyday John back in the mix. That's helped tremendously, and it's been fun to watch. Given, like you said, where they started to where they are now, even if you thought that the start was a bit of an anomaly, I don't think you could have predicted even the most positive that they'd go and make the run that they have since that 0-3 start. You could have said, like, oh, yeah, sure, they'll go 7-3 the rest of the way or something, but you aren't sitting there going, they're going 9-1 after going 0-3. Come on. Like, even the most positive of pumpers aren't going to go that way for any team really in the Big 12. Great job by Texas Tech. They've really kind of hit a nice little piece of, positive pavement here as of late, given, kind of how the feeling was around Mark Adams and just the program in general. Even just a couple of weeks ago, a lot of, bad taste in your mouth as far as expectations versus what reality had turned out to be. But reality here as of late's been, a lot better. So, maybe they're turning a little bit of a corner, but as you said, it's going to be really tough for them to make the tournament. So if you can't make the tournament, or, you still have an opportunity. Let's see what they do. Although you have very little room for error. But as I always kind of say, is if you're not going to be a part of the party, then crash that sucker, or crash that sucker on the behalf of others. And so that's what they did in some ways last night. Now the problem, or they're not the problem, but the deal is Baylor could be in first place for all of a few days. They got the rest of this schedule coming up, including these next two, I mean, it's not easy. None of the five are easy. So, yeah, you're in first place after last night. You'll be in first place for, a couple more days maybe. And then after that, who knows? I mean, you could very easily go 1-4. You could go 2-3. You could go 5-0. I mean, that's the Big 12, and that's what this schedule is the rest of this way, these final 5 games. So it'll be a fascinating race to the finish line.
Paula Fleck McReynolds,